Someone fetch me my apron. I feel good. I feel good.
You may question it, lean not into your own understanding, but trust. And that's the part that makes things grow, in my opinion. That's how you can have that submission.
But you gotta trust him first. So if you don't trust him and you think he can't lead good enough, well, I'm gonna submit to him.
But then you
I
shouldn't be,
agree.
and I agree, but then you shouldn't be with a man that you don't trust, right?
Right.
Remember, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go.
No,
I'll
it's
let you say your piece.
No, it's okay. It's
All
okay.
right, so what it is if you understand the role, there is roles to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Freeze, if he's a basketball player, and I'm a basketball player, and we're both pretty good at our job, highly ranked, and we're free agents. Oh, we lost Miss Polly. We're free agents.
Mm-hmm.
We can go to whatever team we want to go to.
True.
Right. I'm going to ask you, without a long one, how do many of the players pick who they're going to go to? Not just the teammates, but who's normally the important piece? You know?
Mm-hmm.
The coach.
The coach.
The coach.
Mm-hmm.
High school phenomenon basketball players, football players, high school athletes, they literally look to be coached by particular coaches. After Michael Jordan came out, everybody wanted to go and be coached by Dean Smith because they felt he created legends. Yeah, Bobby Knight, you had all of the different people that were coaches. And what happens is there's a hierarchical structure within the teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's business management. There's the team staff management. The coach runs that. Anything outside of the office that hits the court, it's the coach. So when you join that team, you're joining to acquiesce to the leadership of that coach because you trust that coach and that organization is going to take you up the road. Remember, the mission. Sure. But you have to have trust. But the thing is, you're literally, you're signing up to get paid to listen to a man tell you what to do, to listen to a man hold you accountable, to listen to allow another man to make this grown man, to discipline this grown man, like making you run laps, sanctioning you, all of those different things. You sign up for that. Sure. But why? Because then you're going to have to be in that situation where you say, okay, coach, yes, coach.
Can I ask you a question, Chef?
But let me just line this. I got you. Mm-hmm. But you do it because of trust of the end goal that you will win. And you submit to that hierarchical structure because you believe it works, which means you have a role that you got to play.
Mm-hmm.
But you won't cook.
And you tell me which teams that did not create legends, that are losers, that people are clamoring to go and join their team?
That's not what I'm stating, though. What it is that people are not trying to go somewhere to lose. So if someone goes to a team, they have a choice to go to whatever team they want. That means that they actually have a plan. They actually have a goal. They're not going to be making a move just so they can lose. So they have trust in that organization's hierarchical structure that they are going to take them where they need to go. And it happens like that. But the thing is, you have to submit.
Right. And I totally get that. I totally get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, trying to get back to what I said about resources. See, when you're talking about teams like the Chicago Bulls, the LA Lakers, Denver Broncos, New York Giants, whatever, those teams are known winners. Not only do they have the resources of great coaches, they also have supportive staff. They have physical therapists. They have facilities. They have the ability to pay salaries that are exorbitant. Why? Because they have enough resources. So not only are the coaches creating legends, they're creating legends using resources. I have never in my life ever seen any member of any sports league try to get on the Clippers. You understand what I'm saying? Try to get on the losing baseball team. Try to get on the losing football team. Why? Because people, they will submit where they know their garden will be watered. And I know this for a fact because I actually have spent a lot of time in the athletic world. When you're training for the Olympics, right? And you're trying to get there, you'll move all the way across the country to go be with a coach that has access to resources to put you in front of people that you need to be in front of so that you can win. You're not going to go to bust your neck to go to a podunk town where you're not going to be in front of nobody.
Well, wow, you know I love you, so I want to miss my teammate, okay? But they did have Doc Rivers, they did have Blake Griffin, they did have Chris Paul. Then they did go to the Clippers.
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard. So I'm just saying.
Some people go to the losing teams to be able to have an impact. They'll go to losing teams. The losing teams normally are closer to their what's called rebuilding stages. So what ends up happening, the losing teams get better draft picks. They get newer talent. They get pushed up. So what ends up happening is that it does make a lot more sense for a journeyman player or a player that's pretty good to get a lot more run going to a rebuilding team or even going to become the star there because they know that they're about to pick up a hell of a lot of talent, have a lot of cap space open. So there's a lot of pieces to that particular jigsaw puzzle. But I understand.
They call that a project, don't they, Chef?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's dope. I mean, you learn something new every day. I've never heard of anybody going to a losing team, so it is. But however, you cannot blame someone if they don't want to be on the losing team. I think the reality is that a lot of people want to be seen as a team that has the ability to have a high draft pick or to be rebuilding and have great new talent. But some people don't want a project. Some people want to walk into a brand new ready-made home that all they have to do is decorate. If they wanted a project, they would live in the projects. If they wanted, you know what I'm saying? Like some people have already elevated past that. So again, people that want to submit to the project stages, those are dope. And people that don't want to, they're dope too. I think the problem comes when we try to qualify for other people what they should or shouldn't submit to. I can't tell you, like you said, you're allergic to shrimp, right? If I told you eat shrimp every day is good for you, you're going to look at me like I'm absolutely out of my mind because that shrimp will kill you.
But I don't want to go let me just say that I don't want to go too far off. Remember, when we talk about submission, I'm not talking about just submitting to a stranger. I'm talking about submitting within the dynamic of a marriage or cohabitation situation setting. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So you've go ahead. Do your thing,
let me clear this up just a little bit. In that instance that you're referring to, Rob, it's not someone telling you who or what to submit to. It's once you make that claim that this is who you submit to, and then you act out against something you already made a contract or an agreement to submit to. For instance, Kyrie says, hey, I submit to the Brooklyn Nets, but when it's time to actually put up or shut up, then he chooses to do what the hell he wants. He says, we don't really need a coach. Hey, we'll make it up as we go. And he wants to disregard his instruction. That's when he receives criticism from the outside. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I do, but I think a lot of the criticism comes in judging women in particular by who they choose to jump into that contract and submit to. Like, take for instance, when we were just having the conversation, it's, oh no, well, you should be able to submit to someone if they don't have the resources. If I choose not to get into a contract with someone that requires that because they don't have the resources, then I'm labeled a gold digger, and I should give someone a chance that doesn't have the resources that I require for submission. See, that's when it gets into a little bit of the double talk, because we're talking about pre-contractual choices versus post-contractual obligation.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? Does that
Yeah,
make
I feel
sense to
that.
you?
It
That makes sense.
It makes sense.
You better shut your mouth. You hear what I'm saying to you? You better shut your white mouth. You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you.
I got to shut my white mouth because I'm talking good sense. Y'all ladies, y'all better be thinking wisely before you make that commitment, because when you take those vows and you get into marriage, it is for richer or for poor, in sickness and health, till death do you part, for as long as you both shall live. So go into it knowing what it is that you require to perform at optimal capacity, and make sure that you have contingency plans in place for your family in case your husband has a moment where he needs you to be a support. Like, are we not, is that not a valid conversation?
Said it.
Yes,
thing
there
is-
should be terms to marriage.
Yes.
On both ends, there should be terms.
Right.
Why we?
Here's the thing, though. I get there should be terms and all of that, Robbie. But what I'm speaking of, what I'm referring to when I speak about the submission, I'm speaking about once that woman makes that decision to spend the rest of her life with this man, she should understand that submission is a part of the game. Because remember, you said it earlier, we both submit. She may submit to her mate or her husband, but her mate or her husband submits entirety of the mission, which means he goes, breaks his back, works 40, 50, 60 hours, knuckles bleeding, comes home, keeps a stiff upper lip, does whatever house chores, is a dad to the kids, goes out, rinses and repeats on Monday. There's a level of submission. Love, the people that believe that love is an action word, believe that submission is also a part of that. You're submitting to the love that you have for that mission and the persons within that mission. So all I'm stating is that when you get that rock on your finger and you say yes, that you should also understand that yes, before that yes even comes, there should be that level of trust, because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the trust fall. The whole point of the trust fall, you put your hands across your chest and somebody stands behind you and you pray to God that they catch you. That trust fall is for both people. For both people. For one, it allows that person with their hands on their chest to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and releasing control of certain powers, because we can't control everything. But then when that other person catches them, the person with their hands across their chest has built a higher degree of trust in that person. But not only that, it builds a level of onus in that person. Why? Because it builds a level of responsibility within them now, because they're saying, wow, this person really trusts me, which means that I'm going to have to make my decisions at a higher level. So that submission is synonymous or congruent with the trust fall. But I believe you shouldn't even take that ring if you're not willing to do that, or if you haven't had enough trust, then you shouldn't even accept the ring. What do you guys think about that?
on
I
facts.
agree. I agree.
But I'm not saying some people do, and that's why some people it doesn't work out because they don't have the trust for him. Not every man can lead. I keep saying that, and they think everybody was a natural born leader. He ain't.
That's facts all day.
Right, and therein lies an additional rub.
Mm-hmm.
You're laying with or choosing to spend the rest of your life with someone that you recognize is not a natural leader, but then you go and choose them as your leader. Okay? So you're going to go to the person.
No, he's not a leader.
Check me.
Hold on. You're going to go to the person that has to do remedial math to do your taxes.
No.
You tried it.
You tried it. I know. I see you trying. Don't try to talk at me. But you ain't gonna know he's a natural born leader until he start leading, and you see some shit he's not doing right. So that's how you know he's not a leader. He got to show up in your life, and you know I can lead me. But let me, you my man, okay. But when you find out
She brought the girls this time.
you be like, oh, he be getting mad with you. So I'm just saying is when you know you can lead and when you know you have been a leader, because it takes a village to raise children. And if I'm a leader in my house, I'm raising my kids, I can lead. I know how to lead. Okay. So when y'all feel like your leading skills ain't good enough, your communication skills ain't good enough, and you don't even know how to be right. So why don't let you lead me?
Man, I don't know what it still comes down to. So then you're not going to let him lead you, but then you're going to want to be their wife forever. If you recognize all of these things that you just mentioned, would you stay with the dude after you mentioned all of those things?
No, but it takes time to get to know. It takes time to get to know somebody and know if they're a born leader, okay?
Right, but what you just gave was an exception. Here's what I'm stating to you. You're stating that if you knew earlier, you wouldn't have been with the guy. And then you said that if you found out later, you would leave the guy. You would not be with the guy. So that's an exception. You get what I'm saying? That's an exception. But how about, so watch this. Before you figured out that he was a loser that didn't know how to lead, were you being submissive then? Because submission is not something you turn on and off, you know.
No, probably, I ain't a submissive woman. I ain't going to lie.
So then,
I'm not. That's just who I am. I got to make sure you can lead right. Let me see your skills.
She want a guaranteed contract.
Show me what
guaranteed contract. The one thing that we don't get.
What?
I said you want a guaranteed contract. I said the one thing we men.
No, I got to see how you lead in your life. Let's see, are you a good father? You a good provider? If you showing me that you are, then you a leader then. But when you ain't leading nobody and you think you can lead somebody, and don't come in here trying to lead me, because I'm already leading some people already around me already, okay? I'm really good. Then, but you can add to my life, okay? Add, not subtract. Okay, I ain't saying all that. But let me show you what your leading skills are. Because like don't come up here trying to show up and be a Captain Saber woman. No, I'm not asking for that.
Hey, hold on. You was talking about resources. That's how we got here. Mm-hmm. And was resources necessary for submission? And what's happening a lot of these times, based on what you were saying, is people see these max contracts. They say, I want a max contract. You ain't no NBA superstar. You didn't work on your skills. You ain't been in the gym. You ain't been hitting the weights. You can't make your weight requirement. What the fuck are we talking about? Stop asking to be the star. Yeah, you need to go play for the Kings and not the Lakers because you can't take that scrutiny. You can't take the coach hollering at you every day and making sure that you eating this and making sure that you in the gym 3 times a day instead of 2. You need to go somewhere where the bar is a little bit lower and you can shine. And maybe you can help that franchise build up and get a little more credit. But however, a lot of people see, oh, that's the Lakers. Look at all them banners they got on the wall. They proven winners. But you ain't no proven winner. So at the end of the day, you got to be careful what you wish for, because those requirements on those proven winners are a little bit higher, and you may not qualify. So,
but the thing of it is, there's a lot of proven losers that are running around here with requirements as if they are proven
Here
winners.
we go.
If
Here
you
the hell
are
we go.
if you not winning, if you don't got your money right, if you don't got your weight up, if you ain't been hitting the gym, if you don't have no stamina and no longevity, don't come in there like you is King Kong of the world. No, 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 no. I need to have only green M&Ms. No, I can only drink Voss water. Don't come into the situation like that, because you really are like the backup player. You sitting all the way on the fourth bench, but you coming in here like you the all-star. See, this is the problem. A lot of people on both sides of this fence need to chill out, tone it down, and farm from the farms that are local to them. Like, stop thinking that you qualify for a upper echelon chick that got her breast on fleek, her belly on snatch, and her booty on tootie, and you over here doing what? Bagging groceries down to the Kroger? No, you don't qualify. Stop acting like you have enough authority to tell a woman how to lead some kids when all you doing is sitting on the couch in your holy underwear playing Madden or Call of Duty. If all you
Using
want to do is
exceptions.
go, I'm saying though, but is this really the exception when so many
Using
men,
exceptions.
grown men are fueling the Xbox industry? When so many grown men are sitting there and having aspirations and following behind people and complaining about women that don't want to be with them and don't choose them. And I know the
You could
the
say
opposite can be said about women complain about men. And at the end of the day, I feel like this. Everybody needs to stop complaining. Everybody's complaining because they're not getting no love and affection. Get the love and affection that is suited for you and nurture that. Stop trying to grab outside your wheelhouse and stop trying to put other people down because what? You don't
so.
like
That's
them. If I don't like you,
interesting.
I just don't like you. Move
That's
away.
interesting. It's just interesting. It's interesting because you're doing a little conflating there, right?
Am
Now,
I?
what you were using was some of the worst exceptions, talking about the men sitting down playing Xbox, you were using some of the worst exceptions. But then there's another piece was interesting to me. And I listened to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rating system that you use sounds almost synonymous with the whole high value man dynamic that Kevin Samuels was talking about, because you were talking about staying in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
So what you literally did was create a tier classification for the men and the women,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now,
Right.
so let's rock with that.
Okay.
So let's state your tier classification for men and women is fully accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Then would that mean that the woman would have to submit to the man still? Because now, if you told the dudes to stay in their wheelhouse, so if he's a grocery bagger, all right, let's say he's not stepping out of the line, he's a grocery bagger,
Mm-hmm.
and he meets Jenny from the produce department,
Mm-hmm.
all right? They both make the same low income.
Mm-hmm.
Does he deserve submission?
If he can provide the total care and keep that balance, absolutely. See, because for me, I don't care if you're a grocery bagger or if you're the CEO, because I know plenty of very, 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 very wealthy men that don't provide total care to their woman.
Okay, now, yeah, listen, yeah, all right. Look. You know what?
And I know, but but to be in opposition to that, I also know several men that make $50,000 or less that would be offended if their wife paid one bill in the house, because that is a slap in the face to their manhood. And I can tell you what, the men that I know that are middle class Americans that are taking care of their families and holding it all on their shoulders, those men that have wives that submit willingly, it's not a problem and it's not an issue. When you're providing security and stability for a woman financially and emotionally, she's not going to give you certain type of pushback because she's going to be happy. It's going to be in to go outside of her way to make sure you are comforted and you are okay so that you can continue doing what it is that you do for them, it's about that balance, that homeostasis.
True. That is so
She gonna
true.
do just enough not to get fired like anybody else on their good paying job.
Well, you
Okay.
know,
Not to get fired, big. Really?
That's how,
I think
listen,
it's unfortunate that might be your experience,
Thank
but
you.
I'm
money ain't gonna make
telling you,
nobody stay nowhere as far as like, okay, well, I get paid $30 an hour on my job, so I'm gonna do it to the fullest. No, you're gonna do it to the fullest because that's who you are. And it wouldn't matter
right?
if they was paying you $8 or $30.
So
Now,
I
if you a disgruntled employee, you a disgruntled employee. It don't matter how much you making. But at a $30 an hour, you may use that as a reason to stay longer than you normally would, which is what's actually happening.
And thank
So
you for shoring up my point, because like I said, I know wealthy men that are not providing total care for their women, which means
exactly,
security and stability. But I know men that are poor that are providing total care, which means security and stability. So you're right. It's about the disgruntled employee, because I know men that have walked the journey with women to a point where they were in homeless shelters to a place where they are now owning multiple properties and both making very, very high ranking salaries. But the reason the woman was submissive and stayed for the amount of time that she stayed was the total care poured into her. It was the love poured into her. It was the nourishment poured into her that afforded her the opportunity to sustain that.
When you love somebody, you can move mountains. How about that?
but check it. Just because,
What that
listen,
means.
You know
Chef,
what?
I'm not playing with you.
Well,